Firestar is easily one of the most liked characters in Warrior Cats. But does he deserve it? Well, we're going to find out throughout this video. Quick warning for possible flashing during this video as I am drawing, so please proceed at your own accord. Now snuggle your cats, grab your books, and let's do this. Firestar is the first POV character in the books. That much is clear if you've read the first chapter of the first book, because then he is known as Rusty. If you started later and are confused as to how he was Rusty based on how the books work, it's because he started off as a kitty pet. But after Spotted Leaf's vision and Bluestar watching him hunt and fight, he is invited to the clan. Now, in my opinion, if my medicine cat just told me that Fire was going to save my clan, and I conveniently met this kitty pet at around the same time, I would invite him in too. So that's a good start. After entering the camp for the first time, he watched Bluestar call a meeting for him, and basically Longtail woke up and chose violence, so he tried to fight Rusty and ended up taking his collar off instead, which Bluestar took as a sign of approval from StarClan. But after he got assigned the clan leader as his mentor, he got bullied again. Now, normally you would tell a trusted adult, but Firepaw, as he's now called, is a bit of a rebel, so he doesn't. Anyways, after Firepaw's silly apprenticeship, he becomes a warrior with the name of Fireheart, and also Graystripe is his best friend. Kind of forgot, but that's no big deal. Anywho, Fireheart spends like 5 minutes as a warrior and then becomes Bluestar's deputy. During this time, he learns that Bluestar is now an atheist because yes. Meanwhile, Tiger Claw is plotting his revenge after Bluestar stole the last of his Cheerios. During a battle, Tiger Claw tries to murder Bluestar and then she exiles him. Tiger Claw swears he will get more Cheerios and drown Bluestar in them. But during his revenge plot, Bluestar drowns in actual water instead, so now Fireheart has to become the new leader. After getting his 9 lives, he destroys Blood Clan and yada yada. He also gets bombarded with visions the rest of his life and has children. Some of his visions were important, but not for this video. After defeating the Dark Forest, you see him bleeding but alive, and then the very next scene, the show producers learn that he got hired for a permanent role on a different show, so thunder cracks, and he's dead. But he still makes guest appearances from the grave, so that's nice, I guess. So we know now that he had a very revolutionary life that impacted clan culture extremely. But you may still be confused why fans love him. I mean, he's just a random character that happened to be the first POV, but for so many people, he's so much more. A common reason people love him so much is nostalgia. I mean, it's been 21 years since Warriors debuted, and the first book featured him as the main character. People could feel a deeper bond to Firestar because of this, and enjoy his character moments more because it reminds them of their childhood or earlier life. Another rather common reason is because it's the easiest choice and the safest option. Maybe someone wants to find a character that everyone loves. Firestar is the safest pick because he's basic and the first cat that comes to mind. He's on the cover of a lot of books and the POV of many more, and he has to be at least a little popular to get his own super edition. Furthermore, he is also loved because of actual moments. He is known as a brave and courageous leader that made many good decisions that would significantly influence and shape his clan later on. And he also has cute moments with Sandstorm, I'll give him that. But many people know him as a great leader that tried his best to make his clan a better place. I can't deny that Bluestar made a good decision for her deputy. The last reason I have as to why he's such a lovable character is because of how he's the chosen one in many senses. What I mean by this is that even when we first hear about his existence, even if indirectly, it's to tell us that he's in a prophecy and that he can save the clan. But Firestar isn't all loved. In the end, there's many things that people dislike about him as a character, despite all the good he did during his lifetime. Let's delve into 2 of those points now. The first reason people don't really like him as a character is actually because of his main character energy. And yes, I know that's the point of a main character, but here's what I mean. Even after his arc, he was still consistently present, but not leader present, too present. It was like the authors assumed you would forget about him and that he needed to show up way too much so he didn't fade off screen. As you see in later books, there are better ways to handle the possible fading of a leader from the main plotline, but I personally gave them a pass on this. The other reason people may dislike him is because he gets way too many prophecies. He sometimes gets more prophecies than the actual medicine cats, and their job is to receive and decipher signs from StarClan. I admit leaders get visions too, but Firestar got them way too often. Because he got so many, people started to hate him for it. It just made his character feel unnatural and bizarre because he was way too different. But despite all this, I feel like it's important to note that Firestar made lots of mistakes, which made him more likable and relatable. I wasn't trying to paint him in a way that showed he was picture perfect earlier in the video. He made lots of mistakes in reality, but that's a good thing. It shows he has personality and character. The art you see on screen took me 2 hours and 48 minutes to complete. I'm going to walk you through the process in which I made this art in a quick segment. So first I took an empty canvas and drew the guidelines for Firestar. I started with 3 circles and evolved it into an actual cat. I got distracted probably halfway through though and drew a background before finishing the guidelines. Then I made my brush really small and traced along the edges of those blue guidelines you saw on screen earlier. After I finished that, I traced the facial features and colored in Firestar. It was more difficult than it sounds, but there's a quick rundown. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider liking and subscribing if you haven't already. It helps me out a lot, and you get to see more of my content, so that's a fair trade. If enough people request it, I'll post the time-lapse without my voice. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.